From Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois, CBS Sports presents the Atlanta Falcons versus the Chicago Bears. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully along with Alex Hawkins. And Hawk, Jack Pardee and the Bears have a tough problem to come back after that bitter loss to Minnesota last week.
In the overtime, that was a bad one. But if there's a guy that can bring him back, it would be Jack Pardee. I saw this man, and when he was coaching in the World Football League, take a team, finish the season, go to the World Bowl, and they hadn't been paid in 19 weeks.
He can do it, and he has a man out in the middle of the field to do it for him, and that would be quarterback Bob Avellini.
He has been a pleasant surprise. He went from virtually off the board in quarterback ratings to the number 3 passer, and he's been calling his own plays for this will be the 3rd week.
When you talk about quarterbacks, I guess he's overlooked, and yet Scott Hunter has led Atlanta to a very good half a year.
He has done just that. By design, the Falcons are a very conservative offensive team. They're not trying to beat themselves. They're letting the other teams beat themselves. That strong defense. But don't be surprised if they get in trouble today to see Steve Bartkowski. He was injured in the last preseason game, Ben, but he's ready to play now, and don't be surprised if you see him today.
Well, right now, as they line up for the kickoff, Atlanta, starting off on an optimistic note, won the toss of the coin. They have elected to receive. Our officials, Fred Silver, our referee, with Moorcroft and Craig Seth, Jacob, Rice, and Musser as the judges. And now ready to kick off for Chicago as they come in here with a 2-3 record, having just lost to Minnesota. The Falcons, on the other hand, 3-2, and Farmer deep for the return, takes it on his 15-yard line, out to the 30-yard line, and is brought down at the 32. He was hit by Leo Walderscheid. And so Atlanta, their offensive line, with Montgomery at tackle. So Atlanta taking over 1st and 10, the ball on their own 32-yard line. Hunter, the quarterback. Jenkins started to go left, and they tell him to go right, so he's going to go outside. Wallace Francis, who is in a slot. Mitchell, the tight end, and Francis in motion. Stanback and Ely, the running backs, and it is Ely who picks up a yard, maybe 2 at the most. Monroe Ely coming off a good game last week, a career high of 90 yards against Buffalo. So Scott Hunter trying to pilot this ball club against a defensive line of Hartenstein, Osborne, Rydalch, and Newsom, with Buffon, Reeves, and Bryant, along with Hillis, Livers, Fensick, and Plank. And immediately it's Don Reeves, number 57, making the hit right at the line of scrimmage. And so the Falcons slowed down immediately in the early going, and they take out McKinley and bring in Adams to bring in another play from the bench. So it'll be 3rd and 8 for Atlanta. The ball just about on the 33-yard line. A brief return by the Falcons' Carl Farmer. Ely on a wing now outside the tight end Mitchell. Haskell Stanback all alone behind Scott Hunter, and it's a draw to Stanback, and he's out to about the 38-yard line, tripped up at the last minute by Doug Buffon. Doug Buffon, number 55, coming off the field right now, is the only remaining Bear who played under George Halas.
It's a sad story about Doug Buffon. He's been a fine linebacker all these years. I guess he's in about his 11th season, but he's never played on a winning team. He's been here with the Bears, hurt last year, but never been on a winning team. A lot of the Falcons know that feeling.
Johnny James ready to punt. And going all alone now is Schubert, who dropped a punt to set up the only touchdown in last year's meeting, won by Atlanta 10-0. Johnny James, one of the outstanding punters in the league.
Too much time!
And they just about get that pass away, and here it comes. Schubert standing on his own 20-yard line. To the 25, 30, 35, across the 40, and got it out to the 43-yard line, and he was hit by Ray Easterling. And so the Bears start in good position. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Chicago Bears and the National Football League is prohibited. Albrecht and Jackson, Pfeiffer, Sorey, and Lick. That's the front line with the receivers, Rather, Scott, and Latta. And now Bob Avellini pitching back to Roland Harper, who's across the 40, out to the 45, and spinning to the 47. It is Ray Easterling again making the hit. Roland Harper, a workhorse for the Chicago Bears, and when the going gets tough, he is the one who gets it. He has carried the ball now 88 times this year without a fumble, so he's a reliable guy, Hawk.
He's also a very unselfish player, playing in the backfield, blocking for Walter Payton most of the time. A pretty good pass receiver. He'll do anything. He's a team player.
Head coach Jack Pardee looking at his ball club, 2nd and 6 from the 47. Avellini this time to Walter Payton, and he gets nowhere. He fights his way back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about all. Walter, by the way, comes into the game with 3 consecutive 100-yard days, tying Sayers, Caceres, and Feathers. No Bear back has ever had 4 consecutive 100-yard games, and he's running against that front 4 of Humphrey, Bailey, Lewis, and Merrill.
Well, the second game of the season, the St. Louis Cardinals held them to, I guess, 36 yards, and that's the only team that's had any success stopping Walter Payton this year.
Well, we'll see how he goes. His first carry for naught, 3rd and 5. The ball on the Bear 47-yard line. Avellini, play action fake, and he's going to keep it. Humphrey chasing him, and he is belted out of bounds by Ron McCartney. And McCartney also takes out a Bear coach who went down heavily right in front of the bench.
Did he get that first down, Ben?
It would appear to be a first down.
I don't know whether you'll be able to pick it up, but Greg Latta is open deep this time. Avellini, seeing probably that he could get the first down, or thinking he could, so chose rather to throw the ball, just go ahead and get what he had.
So Bob Avellini piloting the Bears to a first down. Miami leading Seattle by 4 points. 1st and 10, Chicago. Payton is the second man, and with the ball, flags on the play as he gets across the 45 and down to about the 42-yard line. But the preliminary signal would indicate it is against the Bears.
Well, the Bears have done a turnaround. Last year they had a good defensive team having trouble with their offense. This year they've just reversed that. And I think the reason more than anything else, Ben, is the fact that they've had so many injuries on that defensive line.
Offense, ball start, first down.
So that'll spot the ball back into Bear territory once again. On their 47-yard line, it's 1st and 15 as Avellini brings them out. The Bear running backs this year have been averaging just under 5 yards a carry. Avellini going to put it up. Down the middle, and it is caught by James Scott. He's across the 20 to the 15-yard line. Rick Bias was the man who finally made the hit on the Atlanta 15.
There's one of those refugees from the World Football League, James Scott. He's been the leading receiver for the Bears this year. Avellini showing the form that's brought him to number 3 quarterback in football. Right on target with a pass. Rick Bias giving chase there. James Scott.
37-yard pass from Avellini to James Scott. And, of course, Scott has caught 17 this year. So the Bears' wide receivers are starting to get the football, and Avellini is getting it to him. 1st and 10 on the Falcons' 15-yard line. Here comes Walter Payton. And Ray Easterling knocks him down back of the 15-yard line. So Easterling and Brown, the safeties, coming up, which is an interesting point in talking about the Atlanta defense. They brought over Jerry Glanville from Detroit, a defensive back coach, and he teaches a lot of blitzing and stunting defense like Detroit, and so you'll see Easterling and Brown considerably. Easterling number 32, Brown number 34.
You know, they treat their defense a lot different than they have in the past. They expect those safety men to come up and act like linebackers, and they've got 2 boys that can do it too.
2nd and 10 from the 15. Avellini looking at Payton, who's open for the moment. Instead, he goes to his tight end, Greg Latta, and Ray Easterling is there to break it up.
Didn't he have the coverage there? He certainly did. Greg Latta came up, I guess he was a World Football League player for the Florida Blazers along with Jack Pardee. I remember one point he said he probably was the best tight end that he'd seen in football. I think he reevaluated a little bit, but he has improved this year. He lost his job to Bob Parsons early in the year, but he's won it back now, and he's in there.
One reason they tell us Latta's blocking has improved considerably, and he has caught 14 passes thus far.
3 of them touchdowns.
So here come the Bears, 3rd and 10 from the Atlanta 15-yard line. Latta goes to the left side. Farmer is split wide to the right. A fake to Harper, and Avellini getting a lot of heat, and down he goes. Wilson Fomina, number 74. And in that situation, Fomina plays over the center. Somebody asked him, "What's your job?" And Fomina said, "To freak out the center."
I read that.
Did you? Well, he just did. He freaked him out.
I guess that's the way Reggie Jackson expressed his feelings in the World Series. He was going to freak out the pitchers. The best way to do that is knock 3 of them out of there.
Wilson Fomina, by the way, is the son of a Samoan chieftain, and is a rather impressive rookie at 6'5", 275 pounds. So now the field goal attempt, and Bob Thomas is 6 for 9 this year. And he's got it in there. So Bob Thomas is now 7 out of 10. He is third in the league in field goal completions, and the Chicago Bears are on the scoreboard, leading Atlanta 3-0.
Schlitz Light.
Schlitz Light beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
Is that what he always drinks? Yep, it's his beer. It's the only light beer with gusto. Oh, yeah? Schlitz Light.
Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
When you're looking for tires that put teeth in winter driving, drop in on the Snowbiters at Firestone. Look at them, 2 sets of deep biting teeth that really gobble up snow, but they don't take a bite out of you. Right now, a polyester cord Snowbiter is just $20 plus federal excise tax, and you can charge them. For quiet running, long mileage, and plenty of traction, Firestone Town and Country Snowbiters.
The Chicago Bears leading Atlanta 3-0. Carl Farmer is on the 2-yard line. He has Rick Bias to his right and Tom Moriarty to his left. And the kick will go to the 7-yard line, and it's Farmer. To the 25, 30, and buried at about the 33-yard line. Among other, Leo Walderscheid, number 23, at the bottom of the pile, along with Jerry Muckenstern. So Atlanta having surrendered a field goal. It should be pointed out, the Falcons have not allowed a touchdown since the 25th of September. So even though the Bears had it 1st and 10 on the Atlanta 15, they wound up having to settle for the field goal. Scott Hunter with Ely and Stanback from the 33. And it's Stanback. Gets the 35, and they push him back. Wally Chambers, along with Ron Rydalch, had a chance to pin him behind the line of scrimmage, and he was able to escape.
That's the strength of that Bear defensive team, of those defensive tackles. Wally Chambers, probably the premier defensive tackle in football in years past, but he's had some injuries the last 2 years, particularly this year. Can't quite get it together.
Second down for Atlanta, with the Bears leading 3-0. That's Stanback in motion to the left. And Hunter off the fingertips of Alfred Jenkins, who comes in here with somewhat of a streak. Jenkins has caught at least one pass in 31 straight, and he had that one go off his fingers.
He's a fine football player, and of all the things that's happened to a guy like that, he was originally drafted by the Houston Oilers. And he missed a punt. They only let him in one game, missed a punt. They waived him. He was back coaching back in Georgia, I believe, some small school. And then they pick him up, and the World Football League gives him another chance. And, brother, after that, it's all over. He's one of the best receivers in football.
He certainly is. Had a cold day having that one get away. It's about 50 degrees, 13-mile-an-hour wind. 3rd and 9. Hunter wobbles, but he gets it to Francis across the 45. And he is driven back to the 45-yard line. Wallace Francis making the reception.
He got old Wallace in a trade from Buffalo, and he's really been a surprise to him. Been a good, steady performer. Averages not a deep threat, really, but he goes 15 or 16 yards per catch. That's what Scott Hunter does best, so he plays a very controlled offense. He only had 2 interceptions, and both those coming last week, but he throws the quick things. He knows he's got a young offensive line. He's got to get rid of it in a hurry.
Well, he did just then for a first down on their own 47-yard line. Jenkins left, Francis right, Stanback in motion to the left. And it's a draw to Monroe Ely, and Ron Rydalch, number 76, read the play and nailed him right at the 45.
As we look at this again, watch Rydalch. He's from Twilla, Utah. You can feature that. I don't even know where Utah is, much less Twilla.
They call him Dry Gulch.
Dry Gulch?
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, he puts a stop on Stan, or Ely, rather, excuse me.
So a loss of about 2 to the Atlanta 45. That makes it 2nd and 12. Francis right, Jenkins left, and Hunter looking left. And it's to Jenkins inside the 40-yard line. Virgil Livers, number 24, nails him at about the Chicago 39-yard line.
Watch it again. With the speed that he's got, you've certainly got to give him, Alfred Jenkins, the room to go. He runs a very precise route. Really got a lot of ability. Just a little bitty guy. I met his father today. His father looks younger than Alfred does, I believe.
Father's name is Carl, quite a man, and here to see his son play. 1st and 10 on the Chicago 38. Jenkins on the right side now. Francis to the left, and here goes Monroe Ely, and they wrap him up. He might have fallen for a yard, and that's about all.
Monroe's played 2 or 3 years in Canada. Well, there's a score now. Buffalo over Cleveland, and I guess that would be considered a surprise, wouldn't it?
I should say Buffalo, of course, shutting out Atlanta last week 3-0. The Cardinals are on the boards against New Orleans in the first period.
Cardinals just won't give up, will it?
I should say not. They better not. Not under Coryell. 2nd and 9 on the 37. And Francis in a slot now goes in motion to the left. Second man, Haskell, stand back inside the 30-yard line. And he was carrying, among other people, Wayman Bryant, number 50, right along with him.
He has been a big surprise for the Falcons. The last 2 years, he's probably been the most dependable back they've had by a wide margin. Good blocker, good pass receiver, and an excellent runner. There's Denver 17-10 over Cincinnati in the second quarter. But I reckon that spoke for itself, didn't it?
They just took the measurement, and they find that is enough for the first down. So Atlanta starting, giving up 3 points to the Bears, now generating a drive. They have the ball on the Chicago 28-yard line, 1st and 10. Francis left, Jenkins right. Second man, stand back, and he's going to the 20-yard line and falls inside the 20. Doug Plank, number 46, finally making the hit.
Then, Scully, when you look at that Falcon offensive line, you've got to look in almost amazement. Warren Bryant, the right tackle, a rookie. R.C. Tillman, he's a rookie. Jeff Van Oat with 9 years experience. Dave Scott with only 2. And Brent Adams with only 3. They're very, very young.
And another
doing an excellent job.
Only 10 sacks in 5 games allowed by the Atlanta front wall. So they've done a great job in protecting Hunter. Stand back, running into a crowd, and he'll stay right there. As we mentioned earlier, the Atlanta running backs are averaging only 2.8 yards a carry. That would be least in the conference, in direct contrast to the Bears, who are averaging almost 5 yards a carry. So Atlanta is really doing it defensively, and it is remarkable to realize that the offense is averaging only 9 points per game, but the defense allowing only 4. And so they're in the black, 3 and 2. 3rd and about 1. Stand back, trying to follow Monroe Ely, and we'll leave it up to the officials. The crowd certainly doesn't think so.
I don't believe. You know, the Falcons have not scored a point in the first quarter in 5 games. Oh, let's take a look at that Bear defense. They're getting down to Barry in that short yardage situation. Everybody will just go to a point, take care of their own area. Very aggressive, well-coached team. Both teams, I can say that for. For the first time, I can say that about the Falcons.
That's
They're
right.
a well-coached team.
First time since way back in 1972 that they won 3 and lost 2 the first half of the year. So now we'll see Nick Mickemeyer as they'll spot the ball on the 26. It'll be a 36-yard field goal attempt. Up, and it is no good.
Uh-oh.
And so Atlanta still shut out in the first quarter this year. Mickemeyer missing, and it remains the Chicago Bears 3 and the Atlanta Falcons nothing.
Introducing the Ford in your future, the new Ford Fairmont. A new car designed for today and the years ahead. At 33 miles per gallon highway, 23 city, Fairmont has the highest mileage ratings in its class. Yet it has 90% of the head, leg, and shoulder room of most large cars. And base sticker prices for the Fairmont line start at just $35.89. Fairmont, roomy but with mileage like a small car, and the lowest sticker price in its class. Test drive Fairmont, the newest, better idea from Ford.
Should have bought Mobile One. The oil, it saves you gas, you know.
Should have bought Mobile One. Helps you start at 35 below.
Should have bought Mobile One. Engine temperature hits 500. You're cool.
Should have bought Mobile One. You only change it every 15,000 miles.
Mobile One, the oil that does it all. Take it from an expert.
So the Bears putting it in play, 1st and 10 from their own 20 and leading the Falcons 3-0 as Avellini breaks them out. And it'll be Roland Harper getting out to the 25-yard line. So they pick up 5. That'll make it 2nd and 5. If you missed it earlier, Bob Thomas kicked a 40-yard field goal to get the Bears on the scoreboard. Nick Mickemeyer missed his attempt, so it remains 3-0 Chicago.
Old Nick has had his troubles this year. That's 4 of 13, and he knows every kick may be his last for the Falcons. They're looking around. They've openly admitted they're looking around for another kicker.
2nd and 5 from the 25-yard line. A pitch back to Walter Payton. Payton got a good block from Roland Harper, and he got out across the 30-yard line. Roland Harper threw a marvelous block on Ralph Ortega.
Let's take a look at it, and that's what Roland Harper is there for. Chiefly is coming out of the backfield, catching the ball, and he's blocking for Walter Payton. I believe it's on Greg Brazina right there. Greg having a fine year. It didn't look so good that time. Good blocking downfield there on Ray Easterly. Boy, that Payton's exciting. He's fun to watch.
He picks it up, a 1st and 10 from the Bear 32-yard line. Rather going wide right. Scott wide left. Baschnagel is the tight end on the left side with Latta. And here comes Payton again, wiggling across the 35-yard line and falls forward to about the 36. At the bottom was Jeff Merrill along with Ralph Ortega. So they pick up 3. It'll be 2nd and 7, and Miami increasing the gap now, leading by 14 at halftime over Seattle.
Well, Seattle's won their game for the year. They beat Tampa last week. That's all right. That's going to be a good ball club in a couple of years.
2nd and 7 from the Bear 35-yard line. 3-0 Chicago, 2:16 to go in the first quarter. And here comes Walter Payton. He ran right into Greg Brazina, number 50, and Brazina straightened him up and dropped him right there.
You know, I think it's interesting about that Falcon defense. They've had so much success this year. We've already told you they've only given up 22 points in the entire season. What in the world was compared to last year? You remember the figures they had last year? How many points?
Over 300.
Yeah, it was an awful lot.
In fact, they averaged 22 points allowed per game last year, and this year they had allowed 22 in 5 games. That's a remarkable improvement. 3rd and 4 from the Bear 38. 1:35 to go in the first quarter. Avellini flowing behind and still made his pass to Walter Payton and Robert Pennywell, number 59. What a great name right out of Dickens.
Anytime you play against the Falcons, you've got to neutralize number 87, Claude Humphrey. There you see him in your screen. He is playing a more controlled game than he used to. Yeah, you're going to hold old Claude a little bit with that. See that left hand on the arm there? And usually 2 people working on him. He's still holding him. He's going to stay with him.
Dennis Lick is getting his licks in.
Yes, he is. Pom-poms, I love them. Hot almighty.
4th and 2 from the 40. They're not taking any chances, and Parsons roots it out of there. Coming over to field, it is Roland Lawrence at his own 20. Gets back to the 15, to the 20, and goes out of bounds at about the 22. A most circuitous route for Roland Lawrence, who went back to his own 10 and finally went out of bounds at about his 22.
Cold night, Bob. Did you put in the Prestone antifreeze?
Prestone. Who needs Prestone?
Prestone. You need Prestone.
If your antifreeze is worn out or you don't have enough, you could be in trouble. So put in a fresh fill of Prestone, too, to prevent corrosion and freeze-ups.
Prestone! We need Prestone!
Prestone. You need Prestone.
From Cadillac or Mercedes is its sticker price. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Are you still chained to? Gotcha. The rechargeable Norelco rotary razor lets you walk away, free from nicks and cuts. Its 36 surgical steel rotary razor blades are safely protected inside 3 floating heads to give you a comfortable shave that's razor close, razor smooth, for up to 3 weeks on a single charge. The rechargeable Norelco rotary razor. It lets you walk away from gotcha.
It's 1st and 10 for Atlanta on a 37-yard return by Roland Lawrence. The ball on the Bear 45-yard line. 3-0 Chicago. 27 seconds to go in the first quarter. Jenkins right and Francis left. Stanback and Ely, the running backs. Play action fake to Ely. And Hunter throwing to Haskell Stanback, who makes the reception at the 41-yard line before carrying it out of bounds.
Well, so you can say what you want to about Scott Hunter, but he's the kind of quarterback that really is doing a job for the Falcons, because he doesn't have the Kenny Stabler ability, the Burt Jones, I think, but for them, he knows that they've got a young offensive line. He's got to do conservative things. He's almost perfect for them.
He had only 2 interceptions thus far, and they were both last week against Buffalo. So he has been a relatively mistake-free quarterback. Here comes Stanback trying to follow Ely and just squirts his way across the 40-yard line. He was held up a little bit at the line of scrimmage by Phil McKinley, number 73, his teammate, but he was able to burst around him.
As we said, they've had a lot of injuries in that Bear team. Billy Newsome, they got him in a trade. Boy, what a well-traveled guy he's been, playing off the block just like he's supposed to. Jim Mitchell, one of the better tight ends in football, if not the best all around, trying to put the block on him.
Well, the first quarter has come to an end here at Soldier Field in Chicago, and thanks to a Bob Thomas field goal, it is 3-0 Bears.
You know, it looked like a light day with nothing to deliver but posters for the AC Spark Plug Buy 7 Get 1 free sale. What could be easier, right? Wrong. Do you know how many places sell AC Spark Plugs? And everyone with a poster like this is selling 8 AC Spark Plugs for the price of 7, as long as supplies last. Sure, getting a free AC Spark Plug is a great idea. But you better move fast.
This fresh egg is going to help us sell this brand new Freeflex shoe from Freeman. Watch. You can do it with any new Freeman Freeflex. Let's use the same egg.
Do you know me? In places like this, I'm not always recognized. That's one reason I carry the American Express card. It really comes in handy on vacations, for hotels, car rentals, ski equipment, and tennis lessons. After all, man does not live by golf alone.
To apply for an American Express card, look for this display wherever the card is welcomed.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Jack Pardee, who spent 15 years as a linebacker in the NFL, 41-year-old coach of the Bears, exhorting them to hang tough. Atlanta trying its second drive of the day as we begin the second quarter. 3rd and 3 from the Bear 38-yard line. Play action fake to Haskell Stanback. Hunter lobbing the ball off the hands and out of bounds of Allen Ellis. Ellis had the reception and let it get away.
Oh, do they like this Allen Ellis? He's had 3 interceptions this season, but he's been an outstanding player for them. A little bit of imagination there. Bringing Dave Scott out there for added protection. Ellis plays it just perfectly, though. Scott Hunter dodged a bullet. Also dodged his 3rd interception.
He sure did. Allen Ellis, by the way, has 15 career interceptions. They call him fast, and he is indeed that. And so Johnny James has been averaging a little bit better than 41 yards a punt. Will stand back at midfield. And standing all alone on his 10 is Steve Schubert of the Chicago Bears. A couple of Bears are coming, but he'll thump it over Schubert's head, trying to angle it out, and he got it out. And it'll go out of bounds on the Bear 7-yard line.
That John James is one heck of a kicker. That's his 9th kick that's gone out inside the 20 this year. He controls that ball pretty well.
So the Chicago Bears leading 3-0 early in the second quarter.
Just as soon as me and my 8 friends here finish up and get this wagon home.
When do you say Budweiser? Whenever the moment is right for a great beer. After the work is done, while you're still having fun, the king of beers is waiting for your call. When you say Budweiser, Budweiser, you said it all.
With the price of most things going up, the sticker price of Pinto, the best-selling American small car, is coming down. As of October 3rd, new 78 model Pintos with more standard features will have a lower sticker price than last year's model comparably equipped. Important features are now standard, like AM radio, power front disc brakes, rear window defroster, tinted glass, and protective body side moldings. Ford Pinto, more car for the money than last year. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Vin Scully along with Alex Hawkins. The Bears leading Atlanta 3-0, 14:48 to go in the second quarter. And 1st and 10 from the Bears 7. And here comes Walter Payton. And he got out across the 10, got a little brush block by Bo Rather, but it wasn't enough to take Ray Brown out of the play. And Ray Brown made the tackle.
Revy Sori and Dennis Lick on that right side, the offensive guard and tackle, opening big holes there. They split old Claude Humphrey. Claude not real crazy about the way he's playing. He used to be a freelancer. He could go rush the passer anytime he wanted to, but they're making him stay home playing the run, and that's been the big improvement in the Falcon defense.
Well, they moved the ball out to the Bear 13-yard line. Avellini trying to get a little breathing room, so he gives it to Payton again, and he's hit head-on by Ray Easterling at the 15-yard line.
Ray Easterling, I'm telling you, he can play. Let's take a look at it. There's some kind of runner, Walter Payton. Falls, he's blocking well, got a great attitude. That time, no room. Greg Brazina having one of the best years he's had. He's been around, I guess he's one of the senior players on that team.
11 years.
10, 11? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bob Avellini, who has 7 touchdowns. He is 3rd in percentage back of Staubach and Landry. 3rd in touchdowns back of Grogan and Jaworski. 3rd and 2 from the 15-yard line. And with Walter Payton doing a little blocking, and that's worth watching. He was blocking off Rick Bias.
And I want to tell you, he's one of the finer blockers you'll see, too. He works in all phases of the game. Not that good as a pass receiver, but watch his block. A lot of the great running backs will not block. That's not one of them.
Boy, he was eating up Bias, and because of that, they moved the ball out for a 1st down, and they'll spot the ball just across the Bear 17-yard line. Remember, they started on the 7. So the Bears now trying to generate some kind of a drive. They're leading on a 40-yard field goal by Bob Thomas, 3-0. We have 13 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the second quarter. 1st and 10 from about the 18. Avellini to Walter Payton with Rather letting Siri and Sori block for him, and he gets out across the 20-yard line and rolls to the 21. And among others, Robert Pennywell, along with Roland Lawrence and Greg Brazina.
Did you see how he followed that block of Seavey? Or Sori, rather. He just stayed there waiting for some opening to develop, but it never did. The Falcons strung it out just about the way they're taught. They're a well-coached football team. Both of these teams are.
You know, when Walter Payton was in college, he came to Los Angeles, and he was a finalist in the United States Soul Train Dance Contest.
Came in 2nd.
Yeah. Well, you can tell when he's got those fancy dogs out there. He really moves them.
I'll tell you a story about what he did in practice the other day.
2nd and 7 from the Bear 21. Avellini, play action fake to Musso, and he got it away as he was hit, and it's picked off by Ray Easterling, and he's going out at the 30-yard line. Avellini was hit as he let go, and Easterling makes the interception.
Just an excellent defensive play by Ray Easterling. The pass was not that much off target, but the coverage was there. Good, strong rushes you see coming in with Brazina blitzing that time. But look at how well he's covered and how well he plays it. Ray Easterling, just a lot of football player.
Panasonic invites you to take a picture of a voice with a Panasonic cassette tape recorder.
Things was a lot different than it is now.
All with built-in mics. Some with built-in radios. There are pocket models.
Should last another 50 years.
And even some that record in stereo.
Say something. Come on, speak something.
So take a picture of a voice with Panasonic.
Say something. Bark.
What's the matter with the love machine?
Doing a little fancy footwork. Gets across the 30 to the 25. Carries across the 20-yard line before he's brought down. A great bit of running by the big tight end, Jim Mitchell.
Well, you know, Jim Mitchell has not been happy with the Falcons because in the years gone by, they have not gotten the ball to him as much as he should. When you got a guy with his ability, you've got to get to him. Pop passes, screens, and this year they've been doing it. Jim's a whole lot happier. He didn't want to play for the Falcons, and they talked him into it, and Lehman Bennett, he just has all the respect in the world for. Watch him turn it upfield.
Francis in a slot right. Inside Jenkins. Hunter looking right and overshoots Jenkins just as well because there were several Bears over there, Allen Ellis and Doug Buffon.
Not a whole lot of imagination on that call, Ben.
I guess in a sense, if you had to accuse Scott Hunter of something, you might say he's an unimaginative quarterback.
He reminds me of an Alabama 5-card stud poker player.
No mistakes.
No mistakes at all, just sits back and waits. As soon as he gets aces back, he's going to fire it.
And, of course, he happened to graduate from the University of Alabama.
Yes, he did.
How clever of you to know. 3rd and 7 from the 15-yard line. Back staying into block, and Hunter into the end zone, broken up by Virgil Livers. And it looked like two men had the shot at it, Alfred Jenkins and Wallace Francis, but it was Virgil Livers who broke it up. Mighty Mouse, they call him.
This is just fine football. Look, the heat's on. The blitz is on. Reeves is blitzing in there. The pressure's on. Scott Hunter does exactly what he's supposed to, gets rid of it. Jenkins was open, but just a great play by Virgil Livers there.
Livers is only 5'8", but he put on a great breakup of the attempted touchdown pass. And now Mickemeyer will be kicking with the ball spotted on the 22. So it's a 32-yard field goal attempt to get Atlanta even. Up and good.
He did it.
So Mickemeyer, who in field goals was 2 out of 4 inside the 29, bombs that one to get Atlanta even with 10:49 to go in the second quarter.
Hey, Mom!
Oh, hiya, Sonny.
Stop sitting around, Mom. Let's take a ride in my new Ford pickup.
All right, let me drive. Oh, I can handle it.
This is the one that's built tough with Ford's exclusive twin I-beam suspension and a new 4-speed overdrive option. And extensive rust-fighting materials on underbody parts.
What you think, Mom?
You may think I'm off my rocker. This Ford is tough.
Of all Ford trucks registered over the last 12 years, 93 out of 100 are still on the job.
What does your money do in a full-service bank? Well, for one thing, it creates new jobs. 16 years ago, Premix was started in a small warehouse with money George Call borrowed from his bank.
Ed, our bank's helped all the way from new accounts to our first bookkeeper.
Today, this company is international with 1,000 employees, creating new jobs by creating business. No financial institution can help you and your community more than a full-service bank.
A 3-3 tie with 10:49 to go in the second quarter. Brian Bashnagel standing all alone on his 3-yard line. Up in front, Leo Walderscheid on the right, Johnny Musso flanked on the left. And Atlanta, even with the Bears, 3-3. And Mickemeyer kicking it off. Musso will have it go over his head to Bashnagel at the 10, to the 25, to the 30, and just shy of the 34-yard line as he's finally brought down. Brian Bashnagel out of Ohio State. There, a reminder, next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, the World Motorcycle Jumping Championships, Women's Junior Gymnastic Invitational, World's Strongest Men Competition. All that next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern. The Bears taking over 1st and 10, and there'll be a penalty. Offside against Atlanta, refused. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Chicago as they put the ball in play on their own 33. A 3-3 tie. Field goals by Bob Thomas and Nick Mickemeyer. Avellini brings them out. Atlanta, the tight end on the left side. Rather is inside Scott in a slot right. Harper and Payton. And it'll be Walter Payton. He has Jackson and Harper blocking for him as he gets across the 35. Noah Jackson, big number 65, had pulled to lead the way.
He's a fun player to watch. Boy, he gets it upfield. Those backs have trouble keeping up with him when he makes a turn.
Jackson is 6'2", 273 pounds, and yet you use the word fast in talking about him, which shows you how far professional football has come.
Now, we haven't said too much about that offensive line of the Bears. They're a building team, too, and they're going to get there with Jack Pardee and Jim Finks. There's no doubt about that, but they're a young team. 2 and 3 years experience. They've got one rookie mixed in there. Nobody over 3 years experience in the offensive line.
From the 37, Avellini giving it to Walter Payton, and he's hit and dropped shy of the 40. And once again, the familiar figures of Ray Easterling was the first man up, and then Greg Brazina.
But I just can't say enough about the improvement in the Falcons, and I mean this. They are just so much better coached than they have been. Their whole attitude has changed. You can see it in the players and all. The attitude around the entire team is so positive now. They are finally getting it someplace.
And, of course, both Bears and Falcons trying to turn the corner, each having such an important part to play. And oddly enough, the Falcons, with 3-2, have a lot to do with how the Bears will wake up in the next couple of weeks, playing Minnesota and Detroit. And Walter Payton is hit at the 40 and driven back. And at the very bottom was big Wilson Fomina, the big Samoan, number 74.
Do you ever notice that nobody on the Falcons, they don't have any history. Everything has been negative and everything has been bad. Nobody's ever had a nickname for anybody. So let's call him a chief and get it started off.
All right, and Walter Payton having a tough go against Atlanta. Of course, he had a tough time last year against them. That is to say, for a running back of his caliber. 4th and 5 from the 38. So Parsons will be doing the punting from his 26. Gets a little bit of heat, and it is blocked by Moriarty. Moriarty blocked it, and Parsons downs the ball at the 25. Tom Moriarty out of Bowling Green is the boy who came in and smothered the punt. Watch him, number 45.
He has been good for him all year on the special teams. Watch this. This is a thing of beauty. The perfect angle. He was blocked, but overcame the block and then going after it. Moriarty, just a rookie, too.
So Parsons slamming it down, and here come the Falcons in marvelous position once again. 1st and 10 for Atlanta on the Chicago 25-yard line. The ball game tied 3-3. Jenkins left, Francis right, fumbled by Hunter, but he fell on it and recovered his own fumble. So we're talking about a mistake-free offense, and Scott almost let that one get away.
Well, that's why they've maintained a 3-2 record so far. They haven't been turning the ball over. Only 2 interceptions, and they've only lost 3 fumbles in 5 games. Going into the 6th one, they still haven't lost one.
One record they certainly would like to improve on is the road record. Atlanta on the road won 3 and lost 18. And there you see Albrecht getting a few hints from upstairs as to what's going on in that Bear defense. 2nd and 12 from the 27. Hunter keeps Stanback in to block and goes down to Jenkins and threw it away. How do you do, say? And an Andy Frayne usher slides safely into second.
Say it's all in fun. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, boys.
He's been in show business quite a while.
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Scott Hunter really not that impressive today. He's not losing for him, though. I think that's a big thing, and not many coaches would be as honest as Lehman Bennett. He said to break even or go 500, you don't have to be good, you just have to keep from being bad.
Well, for Atlanta, they have had golden opportunity after opportunity, and they've managed to get 3 on the boards to stay even. 3rd and 12 from the Chicago 27. Francis in a slot left inside Jenkins. They put Ely on a wing outside the right, and Hunter going to release it and throws to Mitchell over his head. Jim leaped and got one hand on it, but it was a bad pass by Scott Hunter.
That was a good number 4 pick. I think he was a 4th-round pick for the Falcons several years ago, 9 years ago to be exact. He was a tackle in high school. Became a tight end strictly by accident. They had an injury to what they thought was a tackle. They put another tackle in, so they instead of a tight end, so he decided to play tight end. And the first play caught something like a 56-yard touchdown pass, and he's been a tight end ever since.
And are the Atlanta Falcons happy about it? We'll see just how happy now is Nick Mickemeyer trying to kick out of a hold by Johnny James. They'll spot the ball at the 29. It's a 39-yard field goal attempt, and it is good.
Oh.
And Mickemeyer really pounded that thing out of sight.
And nobody's happy. Look at the team gathering around him.
So the Atlanta Falcons have broken the tie, and they are leading the Chicago Bears 6-3 with 7 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the second quarter. A reminder of the CBS Sports Championship on Saturday, the World Series of Women Tennis. Will be live from Mission Hills, California. There'll also be the World Middleweight Boxing Championship. Rodrigo Valdez and Benny Briscoe. Valdez ranks number 1, Briscoe ranked number 2. And, of course, the Laurel Invitational. It's all coming up on Saturday, November 5.
Well, that's a big thing for Nick Mickemeyer. That is a big thing, making those two, giving him some confidence. Those kickers can get down on themselves. It's not only with the Falcons. 7 new kickers have been shuffled around in the league this year. Everybody's having trouble with it.
Well, Nick Mickemeyer, who is really smiling, kicking to Brian Basnagel, who is deep, flanked by Walter Scheid and Musso. And Mickemeyer pounding this one to Basnagel, who'll take it on his 7-yard line, out to the 20, and is submarined at about the 23-yard line. Hit by Billy Reichman, who shakes hands with McLean, both men in on the hit. So Basnagel makes the return, and the Bears will put it in play. 1st and 10, and they'll spot the ball on the Bear 23-yard line. 6-3 in favor of Atlanta, a very stingy defensive ball club. Out in front, and Avellini with a long way to go. You know, with Atlanta last year shut out the Bears 10-0. The only shutout against Jack Pardee. Avellini has Rather in a slot inside James Scott to the left. Latta, the tight end, on the right side. And here comes Payton on a draw. And he picked up a couple. Tough going for Walter Payton. Of course, they're keying on him.
Everybody is, almost every play. Well, they have been surprising, though. The Bears on offense. They're number 2 in the NFC.
Hey, a reminder, living with a big television star is more than Mitzi can handle, so she decides to split the scene on the Betty White Show tomorrow at 9, 8 Central and Mountain Time.
Just go up and split the scene.
They split it in half. 2nd and 6 from the 28. Slot right, and again Rather inside James Scott. Avellini to Payton. And Payton across the 30-yard line. Claude Humphrey trying to come all the way around and get him, but he was taken well out of the play.
Well, as you know, we had an injury, the Falcons, with Fulton Kuykendall going down, a fine linebacker going down last week and be lost for the season. And we kind of thought Ron McCartney would replace him, but instead Robert Pennywell has been over there. Pennywell, second-year man, been playing in the middle. It's an unfamiliar position for them.
3rd and 2 for the Bears. By the way, Payton, who is averaging almost 6 yards a carry this year, is averaging less than 3 yards a carry so far today. 3rd and 2 on the Bear 32, and here comes Little Walter, and there goes Little Walter. Ray Easterling had him around the neck, number 32, and down at the bottom, Ray Brown, number 34, and they're really hitting him.
How many tackles have the two of them made just so far in this game? Gracious.
We mentioned that early, that you would see a lot of Easterling and Brown. Boy, are they on your screen. The crowd booed a little bit. Either they were unhappy about Payton just going into the pile and second-guessing the call, and the officials right now measuring to see about just where that ball will be spotted. Not enough. Not enough. So it's 4th and less than 1. 6-3 in favor of the Atlanta Falcons. 4th and 1 from the 33 with 6 minutes and 8 seconds left to go in the second quarter. The battle of field goals thus far. For the Falcons, Roland Lawrence will be a single safety man standing just shy of his own 25-yard line. Back there with him is Reichman and Bias. And Parsons ready to punt. Remember, he had one blocked by Moriarty just moments ago. And they are not coming this time. And Parsons, who has been working on his height, gets it to Roland Lawrence, who has to fall on it before being buried at about the 27-yard line. Brian Basnagel down there to make sure he didn't try to get up.
That's a hard punt to catch. You got a lot of wind out there, as you always have in Chicago this time of year. And that ball did not have a spiral on it. It was kicked end over end. And it can act like a lot like a knuckleball. They're hard to handle.
13-mile-per-hour wind out of the east, meaning coming right off the lake here at Soldier Field. Temperature 50 degrees. Here are the regional games upcoming next week. Minnesota, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Washington, Chicago, Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, L.A., New Orleans, Tampa Bay, San Francisco next Sunday. Right now, play in 1st and 10 from the Atlanta 27. And it's Haskell Stanback, who was hit but refused to believe it and got out across the 30-yard line. Haskell Stanback. Boy, a big man in college at Tennessee. He has 1 touchdown rushing thus far this year.
He's a fine person, too. He's going to go to work for WQXI, I think, in the off-season. It's a radio station down there. Looking much forward to it.
2nd and 3 from the Atlanta 34. Jenkins left, Francis right. Stand back again. Pile driving, and it would appear he's got his first down. He carried it across the 37, and he did. So Scott Hunter leading by 3 and quietly moving his ball club along. There are those who have watched this game and probably figured he should have had 2 touchdowns, but he's leading by 3 points with 4:50 left in the second quarter.
This plays it very cozy.
Boy, doesn't he, though?
They're a well-disciplined team.
That's, of course, the key. 1st and 10 from the Atlanta 38-yard line. Play action fake to stand back. Hunter looked like the bomb, throwing to Mitchell, and there are 3 Bears with him. Ellis was the first one to touch it. Plank was also back there along with Fensick. So they threw to Mitchell in a crowd. So for a conservative quarterback, he kind of forced one in there.
Yeah, he'll move it around on you a little bit, just enough to keep you off balance. Good protection with that Falcon offensive line. And as we said, they are young. Look at the coverage back there. Those Bears, the secondary, have done an excellent job. Look at this protection again. Keep in mind now you've got 2 rookies on that right side. One man with 2 years experience, another one with 3, and of course Jeff Van Note, he's got 9.
Well, it was a great defensive play by Gary Fensick, who just did knock the ball away. 2nd and 10 from the Atlanta 38. 6-3 Atlanta with 4:30 to go to the half. Francis is left, Jenkins is right. Both backs release, flag on the play, and a completed pass down the middle to Mitchell at midfield, which would be enough for a first down. But let's find out about the flag.
Gary Fensick, he's kind of moved Craig Clemens out of his starting job. It's his job now as long as he can hold it. And the way he's playing today, it looks like he's going to be there for a while.
Well, a little too much holding and a personal foul against Chicago, so offsetting penalties. Holding against Atlanta, personal foul against Chicago.
Let's see if we can pick it up as we watch it again. Let's look. Dave Scott, number 70.
Offense. Personal
73
foul.
there.
70 defense.
Bill McKinley.
Decline.
So holding and a personal foul, that makes it 2nd and 10 from the Atlanta 38-yard line. And suddenly you get the feeling that part of the Atlanta game plan is to get that ball to tight end Jim Mitchell.
Oh, yes. And a very wise game plan, I think.
Hunter with his back split, which is usually a passing formation. And the backs stay in to block. Hunter got it to guess who? Jim Mitchell, and that's it. Monroe Ely almost clipped on the play.
Yes, he did.
He came
we
back
might
to
be
block.
able to pick that up right here. Look for Monroe Ely. Number 46. It was almost a clip on Warren Bryan there.
Right there.
There it is, right there. A little bit of shoving by Jeff Van Oak, but nothing too flagrant. I'll tell you, he won't drop anything. Jim Mitchell, if he gets his hands on it, the man they call meat, if he gets his hands on it, it's his.
1st and 10 on the Bear 45-yard line. Atlanta is thoroughly dominating the offense, even though they're leading 2 field goals to 1. Francis in motion, stand back. Looking for some place to go, and he takes a lick before he can get to the 40. And guess who supplied the lick? Wally Chambers.
Oh, buddy. I hope he comes into his own. He is a fun player to watch. When he's healthy, I don't think there's a better one anywhere.
He was the Bulldog Award winner. That's the NFL offensive lineman voted Chambers the #1 NFL defensive lineman. Of course, he's had his problems, a back, an ankle, a knee, and even a wrist.
You got it.
2nd and 6 from the 41 at Chicago. Second man is stand back. And Billy Newsome, number 87, caught him from the back and brought him down. Newsome is kind of a suitcase player. Boy, he's been, let's see, with the Bills, Baltimore, New Orleans, the Jets, and Chicago.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the deal that Joe Thomas pulled on when he was with the Colts, sending him to New Orleans and getting the rights to Burt Jones was an absolute steal.
Unbelievable. 3rd and 3 from the 38-yard line, and Scott Hunter very quietly holding all the cards. Jeff Van Note, the center, leaning back to talk to him for the moment. Hunter looking right and throws intended for Wallace Francis. Doug Buffon, number 55, broke it up. Buffon, by the way, in starting today, has now started in 147 consecutive games. We mentioned he's the only remaining Bear who had played under George Halas.
Don't you feel sorry, though, for a guy that has never been on a winning team in, what, 11 seasons?
That's right.
The Bears won their last championship, I guess, since 1963. They've only had one winning season since then, but they're rebuilding now.
Johnny James doing the punting, and Steve Schubert all alone on his 10-yard line. 6-3 Atlanta, 2:28 to go in the second quarter. And James angling for the sidelines. He's kicked 10 out inside the 20, and he has gotten this one out, and let's see where they mark it. There's a flag on the play, first of all. They would mark it on about the 12-yard line of Chicago, but let's wait until they interpret the flag. And Atlanta evidently had an illegal man downfield.
Boy, a lot of penalties this year. An awful lot of penalties. I mean, every game I've seen, it's just been an enormous amount of penalties.
Yeah, in this day and age with that punt, you have to hear your call before you go.
55, downfield, refused.
So they got their illegal man downfield. The penalty is refused, and the Bears have a long way to go. They took over 1st and 10 on their own 12-yard line, trailing the Falcons 6-3. The NBA on CBS, Philadelphia versus Portland, Friday, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Boy, the round ball, the pointed ball, the little ball, and the medium ball, they all seem to be on the air at once.
They were a week ago.
1st and 10 from the 12. Avellini giving to Harper. And Harper ran underneath a bear hug by Humphrey, but he was still dropped at the 15-yard line by Robert Pennywell. And the crowd is booing because they feel 2 minutes to go to the half.
Sir, it's about time you're here. Another late night, I presume? Well, let's get started. The first thing we have for your assignment is this micro-cassette tape recorder.
Genius. Did you design this, huh?
Well, no, actually. It's a Sony. Next is this radio with 32 worldwide bands can tune in just about any place.
Extraordinary. Who gets the credit for this one?
This is a Sony, too. You'll also need this ultra-compact portable video camera, and we're going to mount this 5-inch color TV in your car, along with this Betamax deck for playback.
Remarkable. Are they,
Yes, they're Sony also.
Excuse me, sir, but did you just walk into a store and buy these?
Well, yes.
Well, keep up the good work, sir.
If it's a little extraordinary, chances are it's a Sony.
Vin Scully along with Alex Hawkins here at Soldier Field in Chicago. The 2-minute warning to the half. Atlanta leading the Bears 6-3, an ultra-conservative game, and most folks figured it would be that way thus far. At the 15-yard line, the Bears have it, 2nd and 7. Avellini, a little flip to Roland Harper, but Ray Brown read it, and he gets away from Brown and is still on his feet and goes out of bounds as Rick Bias finally threw a diving block to knock him out, but Ray Brown had him, and Roland Harper got away.
Defensed it perfectly, the Falcons did. Just a missed tackle over there, and we'll say an excellent effort by Roland Harper breaking the tackle. Watch this. Brown is there in good position. You don't see him miss. He's a pretty sure tackler. One of the outstanding safeties in football. Not that time. Not only a good job of breaking the tackle, but keeping it in bounds. And Noah Jackson in heavy pursuit. He's got speed, but not that much. Harper really has been a reliable player for the Bears.
And Bias finally diving at his ankles to knock him out, and the Bears finally get into position with 1:48 to go to the half. 1st and 10. Avellini throwing to James Scott with 3 Bears in front of him, and Scott on the move is knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line of Atlanta.
Watch the sidearm delivery this time by Bob Avellini. There's an arm up in his direct path. Watch how he sidearms it out there. Good rush by Humphrey there. This guy can fly. Good blocking out in front there by Sorey. Number 69 for the Bears. Oh, one more step. This guy's gone. He's got speed to burn.
Well, with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, Avellini getting hungry now. He's starting to get the feel of things. 1st and 10 from the 31. Avellini 4 for 6 and picked up 35 on that pass play to James Scott. 6-3 Atlanta. But the Bears, with the crowd exhorting them to get a move on. They send Rather wide to the left side, Scott wide right. Latta, the tight end, on the left side. And it's going to be an end around to the tight end, Greg Latta, who is grabbed by Humphrey, knocked out by Easterling. And a flag on the play.
They mix it up. Maybe the crowd got them responding to that. Too conservative. Loosen it up a little bit. Avellini has. Nobody took Avellini serious last year. Do you believe that?
Yes, I saw him once, and he threw like a quarterback who was having a lot of shoulder problems.
Which he did have last year. But this year, he's been for real. 52% of his passes have been completed. The 3rd leading passer in the NFC. 7 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. 6 now, I guess. We had 1 today.
A few raindrops coming down here in Chicago. They said we might have occasional rain today. So with 1:33 to go to the half, Atlanta 6, 2 field goals by Nick Mickemeyer, and the Bears 3, a field goal by Bob Thomas. That'll place the ball back just shy of the 40.
Offense, 70, holding. 1st down.
So Dennis Lick. First and 20 from the Atlanta 40-yard line. And let's see Avellini's play this time. Scott wide left. Bo Rather wide right. Latta, the tight end, on the right side. Avellini getting great protection. No good. Intention for Rather, and he claims he was interfered with, but it falls on deaf ears. Bo Rather out of Michigan.
He's had a fairly good year. Let's take a look at this and see if we can see it. There was some contact down there, but I don't know whether you'd call it pass interference or not. I guess this is as good a way as any to find out. Let's watch it. Avellini losing his footing a little bit there. Brazine on the blitz. Couldn't tell. Lawrence has been an unlucky player with the Falcons. In the 49er game, he had 2 passes for touchdowns called back and a fumble recovery, nullified by a penalty.
Avellini 2nd and 20 from the 40. Going deep and down the left side off the hands of James Scott, and Bias knocked him out of bounds for good measure.
They started the season with Frank Reed playing that left corner or right cornerback position for the Falcons, but Rick Bias has stepped in and just moved him out. A small boy, about 5'10", 185 pounds or so, but he gets the job done for him. Just no hands that time for James Scott.
It's a little bit chilly. You can't call it cold, not here in Chicago. What was it Carl Sandburg called the city of the broad shoulders? But for those of us who just come to visit, it's cool enough.
Ben Scully, I like that. City with a broad shoulders, huh?
3rd and 20 from the Atlanta 40-yard line. Johnny Musso is in there now with Walter Payton. Ray Brown on a blitz. And the pass overthrown, intended for Bo Rather. Roland Lawrence down there with him.
Didn't realize Rather had that much speed, but he had plenty of speed there.
A lot of heat put on by Wilson Formina. And Avellini, with one eye on Formina, overshooting Bo Rather. And so it remains 6-3 Falcons. And the Bears sputtering, and the one chance they had to get a move on. Got it to the 40, got it to the 30, and a holding penalty pushed him back 10 yards, and that just took the air out of the balloon.
Those penalties will kill you.
So Parsons will be punting again. Roland Lawrence, a single safety on the Atlanta 10-yard line. Parsons trying to hang it on the right side, and it'll hit on the 15 to the 10, and the Bears will down it inside the 10-yard line. Mike Spivey down there to touch it. And so with 1 minute and 8 seconds left to go to the half, Atlanta will take over 6-3, and it certainly doesn't figure like Scott Hunter will try to come up with any miracle plays here. He'll just try to sit on a 3-point lead. And of course, coming up next, Brent Phillisoner with scores and highlights from around the league.
It's nice to have that red-headed Phyllis George back.
Dancing her way back into the hearts of America. First and 10 from the 10. Ely and Stanback, the deep man out of the eye. And it's Haskell Stanback cutting inside a Monroe Ely block, and he picked up 2. Let's take a look at a couple of numbers. Payton, 14 carries, 37 yards. Harper, 4 carries, 14 yards. Stanback, 12 carries, 47 yards. He's the top groundman so far. Haskell, Stanback. Deep man out of the eye. 2nd and 7 from the 13. 34 seconds to halftime. Stanback out across the 15. So Atlanta doing what they figured to do. The Falcons staying very close to home. 26 seconds to go. The Bears trying to stop the clock, asking for time. And Atlanta in no hurry whatsoever, taking plenty of time.
They're doing a little more than what I expected. I expected 3 quarterback sneaks instead. No, they're not exciting, but they're becoming. They're becoming in a couple of years.
Atlanta with the best defense and the Bears with the worst defense. There's Lehman Bennett and some of the young Falcons looking on. They're leading by 3. But, of course, Avellini, 3rd in the league in the NFC, and he has thrown 7 touchdowns. So, of course, if Avellini gets untranked in the second half, we might have a different ballgame.
I love Lehman Bennett's approach to last week. You know, he gambled on a 4th down situation rather than when he was behind trailing Buffalo 3-0. The gamble didn't work, and they got beat, of course, 3-0. The first thing he said was my fault. It was a horrible call on my part. It goes against my philosophy. Now, how much more honest can you be than that?
He has really captivated Atlanta. Well, he should.
He's just a straightforward, no-nonsense type guy. Just here's what's got to be done, and we're going to go it that way. I am tremendously impressed with him. Eddie LeBaron, too, has been a great addition down there. He's afforded a lot of class to the organization, which they so desperately needed.
And, of course, for the Chicago Bears being led out of the woods by Jack Pardee. In fact, today you have 2 of the younger coaches in the NFL. Lehman Bennett is 39. Jack Pardee is 41.
Oh, the Bears are in good hands. I don't think there's any question. A team with so rich in heritage in the National Football League, dating back to 1920.
Well, with 26 seconds to go, 3rd and 4, Scott Hunter just trying to take his club into the clubhouse and leading at halftime. Esposito, Rocky, is wrapped up at the 10-yard line, and the big guy, Mike Hartenstein, hit him and dropped him. We have 21 seconds to go to the half.
Hartenstein, a relatively high draft choice a couple of years for him. They expected great things from him, but he really hadn't produced that much. Let's hope he shows some. That's been their problem. Their defensive ends have just not afforded the pass rush they want, and that's been the weakness in the Bears team.
They say he may be the strongest defensive end in the National Football League.
That's what I've heard.
Well, there you see the timeouts remaining with 21 seconds to go to the half. 4th and 9. And, of course, the one thing the Bears want to do, get their hands on the ball one more time. A little practice on the sideline for Bob Thomas. Because if Schubert can make any kind of a return, he'll have just enough time to go for a field goal. And if Schubert calls for a fair catch, he'll get a free kick.
You got it, Ben.
And Baschnagel just missed blocking it. Schubert, no fair catch at the 45 and wrapped up at the 43. And we have 12 seconds showing on the clock.
You know what I liked about that return by the Bears? There was a couple of opportunities they could have made questionable blocks, which might have resulted in clips. They didn't want to do that. They laid off the blockers, and they're just going to take what they can do with the remaining time. I liked it. It's good coaching, Ben.
Yeah, that's just where it goes to, all right. As the Chicago Bears have a chance with 12 seconds left to tie it up, and it will probably depend on the strong leg of Bob Thomas, who has already kicked a 40-yard field goal to get Chicago on the scoreboard. It's 6-3 Atlanta. 1st and 10 Bears, and the ball on the Atlanta 42-yard line. Rather in a slot left inside James Scott. Latta, the tight end, on the right side. Avellini under pressure. Jeff Merrill brings him down. Number 75. And Greg Brazino always there, but it was Merrill who hit him and took him down.
Big play by the man from West Virginia. Jeff Merrill, he has been outstanding for the Falcons. He would otherwise been known as that other end with Claude Humphrey, but this new defense, a team defense, he's doing his share. Nice guy, too. Dates ugly women, but he's a nice guy. That's what his teammates tell me. He is not discriminating. Every girl he dates, he's better looking than she is.
I've heard scouting reports, but that's unreal.
Well, just came up. Ain't much happening here.
No. We have 8 seconds to go to halftime. 2nd and 19 from the 49. Don Newcomb of the Dodgers once said, well, somebody's got to date those uglies.
That's right. I asked Jeff about it, and he said it's not that at all. So every time I go out drinking, all the ugly girls go home early. I know the feeling, Jeff.
8 seconds left to go to halftime. 6-3 in favor of Atlanta. Both starting pitchers are still in there, Bob Avellini and Scott Hunter.
I think that last sack, though, pretty much put him out of field goal position.
It was a big play by Merrill. Avellini had been to the sidelines huddling with Jack Pardee, and now Bob comes back in with the play.
I don't believe they can get a completed pass completed and still have any time with only 8 seconds, or not of any distance enough to help them with a field goal. I believe I just go ahead and throw the bomb and hope for pass interference.
Avellini is 4 for 9 for 95 yards, 1 interception. So we'll see what he cranks up here. 2nd and 19 from the 49. And he's going deep into a cluster for Rather, and it's broken up. Rick Bias was there, and Rather, number 80, was the intended receiver, but he couldn't handle it.